my name is Anna. I'm the founder of Girl Meets Dress, which is a dress rental service. Many of you, hopefully the ladies in the room, would have heard of us. And so we hire designer dresses online. And I started the business a few years ago, and people always ask me, what was the hardest thing that you came across when you were starting the business? And I think the answer is really not having somebody already doing it, not having somebody to look at data, look at customer experience, to look at how it works, and even no one was hiring online. Yes, there were offline hire companies since the 60s, there have been, but nothing high-end designer, online, and next-day delivery. So, a few stats. The men in the room will probably most relate to the first one. But we can all agree that in this age of sustainability, hiring cannot be a bad thing. We need to cut down our waste and cut down the amount of products that we buy as consumers. So when I started looking at the website and building the online platform, the only thing I had to look at was, it's going to be e-commerce, it's going to be fashion. So I looked out into the market, and the designer websites that were at that time were Net-a-Porter, My Wardrobe, Matches Fashion. And so I built it, I thought I was going to build it as a normal e-commerce site. The only difference is the dresses have to all come back from every customer after every order. Simple. So everything looked pretty standard when the website launched. Dresses, you browse through, you order the ones, you click, next day delivery, they come in a box with a return label, and then you send them back after. But we had to be really, really adaptive, which is what I'm talking to you about today, because as I quickly realized, it was not going to be that easy. The first thing I noticed was that customers were not realizing that, it sounds so obvious, but it wasn't, that we were higher, even if you put it on the website. This homepage isn't one of the first ones. This is a more recent homepage. It's how we had to adapt. Because somehow I had to find a balance between being a retailer, but also a booking system. So I was balancing between, okay, is it like a flight hotel booking? Because remember, every single customer that books with us has a specific event date. They need that dress for a specific date. It's not just, I'm ordering from ASOS and I might have they don't know if the customer's got an event that week, but we know. We know our customers' event dates, we know where they're going. We know a lot of data about them. They often call us first and chat about it and talk to the customer service team. So this box on the left was a very important feature to add to the website, because it was the first point of call. Put in your event date and then browse the available dresses. And as you go through the site, we had to adapt. We had to add lots of information to show that it was hiring and show that you can browse. There are 4,000 dresses, but yes, you can narrow it down and browse your dresses. The other thing that I quickly realized was the importance of tech for this business. It wasn't going to be just a normal shop. It had to have quite a lot of back-end programming and a calendar, basically, for every single dress. So when you go onto the dress page, every single dress has to know when it's being booked out, when it's available, and also the dates in between, because I quickly realized that once the dress comes back, obviously we have to dry clean it, we have to do things to it, so there's a couple of days in between where people can't have it. So we quickly built our own back-end systems to cater for this, which was difficult in itself, and somehow log every dress and make sure that customers were getting the dresses that they wanted. And then we quickly realized that obviously because customers had never hired before, once we got them to hire, the main challenge was, try this new thing, try hiring. I know you've never done it before, but nobody that came to our site had ever hired a dress before online. So they were a bit apprehensive. We got them to hire. So when they got to this point, quickly we realized we needed to add the express checkout, because we needed to convert that customer. Because once they hire once, they carry on hiring. And I'll come to that in a minute. But the key thing is not to lose them at this point. And we realized that we were getting lots of drop-offs at the point. You know, they maybe worry about something or something pops into their head and they say, oh, I'm not sure about that or I'm concerned. So we had to eliminate that. So brands, I had no idea what brands to stock. I didn't know what kind of dresses customers were going to want to hire. It might not be the same as buying. It might be very events-driven. I thought it might be just black tie. I had no idea. So I had to stock a range of brands from around the world, different ones, and just see what worked. But it was very interesting, the products, how they evolved, because lots of things, as we went along, adapted the categories that we put on the website. So when The Great Gatsby film came out, suddenly 1920s was huge. I mean, every day, it was all 1920s from themed parties, and it still is our #1 themed event-dressed theme that people rent for. So we added a 1920s section, gowns, maternity. Recently, we added vintage due to customers, listening to customers, and they kept asking. And then also, the inherent desire for a woman to buy never goes away. And we had to add all the dresses that we were no longer hiring into a sales section, because every day we were getting calls, can I buy this dress? And even now it's interesting, we sell lots of dresses, because even after hiring the dress 3 or 4 times, I know you think it sounds silly that she then wants to buy it. So she's hired it. We've had customers hiring a dress 5 times, and then they want to buy it. The other question of demographic. And this is a question I get asked all the time. Who hires from you? Who's your customer? And the answer is everybody. Like, everybody is my customer, from the age of 12 to, as you'll see on the next slide, this is an email we got last month from a customer and her 94-year-old mother needing dresses. So we cater for everybody, and that's a challenge, because we have to make sure we've got dresses for all different events, styles, ages, sizes, and make sure that everybody is catered for. And the kind of events they go to, weddings, dates, everything, proms, birthdays, and then obviously there are busy times of the year, Ascot. And we had to adapt when we learned where our customers were coming from. I didn't know where the customers were going to be from. I mean, none of our PR at the beginning was just London. So I didn't think it was going to be just cities. But I didn't know it was going to be so focused also in the middle of nowhere. And it sounds obvious, look in hindsight, because obviously people that live, in the countryside, all parts of England, they go to lots of events and they don't have any way of shopping quickly to find dresses. And they get asked to things last minute. So we became a port of call for people to just be rescued for their event wherever you are. But that meant we had to adapt our courier service, make sure that there was a 1-hour delivery slot, which we changed, which was a lifesaver. It was so useful for the customer, and to adapt to their lives and what they're doing. And then they started sending us pictures. And this is something I didn't realize was going to happen either, because remember, again, every single customer is going to something special. They're making a special moment in their life. It's a special event. They're not just going to the office. So they feel amazing in the dresses, and they want to send in pictures and share their experiences with other customers. So the product, because we had all those customers renting, and I didn't know how often people were going to rent. I didn't know whether it was going to be once a year, and it was really, really interesting to measure the cohort of the customer as time has gone on, and check how often. And we realized straight away that people needed some sort of ongoing membership. And I tested lots of things. And this is the great thing about being able to adapt quickly, which I could, is launch a few options. And I launched £900 a year, and you can have any dresses, which, no, that wasn't going to work. That ended very quickly. It was just chaos. And then, in the end, we settled after trying £300, different amounts, different types of packages and festive passes, and we tested lots of things. And we settled on the one we have currently, which is working really well, which is a monthly direct debit. And for that, you can have a dress a month. And so our regular members can just order without hassle-free, just every month. And along with that, we listened to our customers, and we had to adapt lots of product offerings by listening to them and seeing what they wanted. So we realized that customers were not ordering the day before the event or necessarily the 2 weeks before. It was a complete range. There were customers ordering 3 months ahead, 4 months ahead, 6 months. I mean, we get customers now asking about dresses for next summer. So to deal with that, I had to adapt the offering to make sure that they could try on the dresses and order, and more importantly, the company could take the money today. So when a customer orders, you obviously place the order today, and the cash comes to us today, just like when you book a flight. But your flight might not be in 3 months' time. So we introduced advanced try-on, which means you can try on the dresses now, and then we redeliver for the event. Insurance, people were so worried, what do I do if I damage a dress? What do I do if I break the zip or the hem falls down? So we added an insurance. And also people were concerned, I had no idea how long people wanted to borrow the dress. If your event is next Thursday, do you want to receive it on Wednesday, or were people too worried? So we had to adapt I did a 7-night for £10 extra flat rate. All the dresses on the site, it's £10. And as these product offerings were becoming smoother, the questions did go down slightly, but there were always going to be more questions and more customer communications with this site than a normal e-commerce site, because it's just the nature. From the day they order until their event, they have questions, or they might want to change their dresses. I mean, it's a live dialogue with every customer. So introducing the live chat was the best thing we did. I was a bit skeptical at first. I thought it was a little bit, I don't know, there was something, I had a bit of a stigma in my mind attached to live chat. But it was the best thing, and now every day, a lot of our business is done through the customers communicating. And also just being personal. They can pick up the phone, they can talk to the customer service team, and we can suggest dresses. I mean, lots of customers, they come to us, they've never worn a dress, believe it or not. And they're going to something, they're very worried about going to a black tie event, they're very concerned, and we have to send them a list of suggestions and help them find the dress. So there's a lot of customer care before that goes into lending them the dress of their dreams. And obviously this was all online. And then very early on, customers said, do you have a shop? Where's your shop? And we couldn't open a retail store, and that was never my intention. So we opened the showroom and partnered with Uber to make sure that customers could have free rides to the showroom, which was really, really helpful. And to this day, people use it a lot, and the showrooms, we couldn't live without it now. I mean, I think that most customers that come to the showroom wouldn't order if it wasn't there, because they're just not the kind of customer that would do that online purchase. And then we had to deal with all the inquiries from Europe, and we had to adapt our distribution into Europe, next day delivery, simply because we were listening to our customers. And that's what they wanted, and so we started doing that. The other thing that was really important was listening to, making customers really happy, customer experience, and that led on to us adapting into different revenue channels. So one of the things that's become really important are our brand partners. And when you order a dress, every single customer gets a little gift. And I know lots of companies do that. It's not a big, important thing, but it's just an added little benefit. But for us, in early on, it was really useful, because also it was an extra revenue stream that the companies were paying to promote their new products to us and reaching a really great demographic. And we were segmenting the boxes that those products went into. And we've carried on doing that. And also it generates content for the customers, the information about the brand, and our customers love reading about that. And other partners, instead of waiting for all the customers to come to us, we adapted in terms of us going to them. So we partnered with W Hotel. So if you are in a suite in a W hotel, you can have free dresses, and the W pay for your dresses, which has been really successful in the London hotel. So adapting customer acquisition and retention. We started off, as many of you, sending out newsletters to everyone, just the same newsletter to everyone. And then we had to measure. Because it's rental, because they all had a specific event, how does this mean that we readjust our newsletters so that people are not getting them at the wrong time? If we know for 2 years of your data that somebody only rents on their birthday, and they're not opening newsletters for any other time, what we did is we created a completely bespoke, kind of dynamic newsletter list. So we had 5 different lists, 01 to 05, and we basically, it was dynamic, and the emails move around depending on when you open them. So if you haven't opened an email for 3 months, you get less than if you open it every week and you're a keen customer. And we segmented those email lists, and that really, really helped orders and our customer satisfaction, because they're not getting bombarded. We have customers renting just for Ascot. So although we try and persuade them in other times of the year, if that's what they want to do, then that's absolutely fine. And that's different from a customer that rents every 2 weeks. And as I said before, because nobody had rented before, the key thing was trying to get them to rent for the first time, trying to get women to just try it once. And once they try it once, we were confident that if they have a good experience, they come back, just like all shops, all shopping, all experiences. So customer reviews were really important, and social media, and making sure that when people had a good experience, they shared it. And I didn't realize, and obviously PR is my background, but I didn't realize in this business how important it was going to be. I didn't realize how important it was going to be for the customer to trust the magazines they read. If you read about it in your favorite magazine, it's much more powerful than if you see an ad on the tube, which we tried, and we tried normal advertising. But we found that trusting the publications that you read every day, if you read the Sunday Times every day and you suddenly see an article, you trust it. Something in you says, right, I'm going to give it a go because my favorite magazine. And so to have press from the beginning was so, so important. And to this day, and it continues. And we had to adapt our resources to deal with that, and I didn't realize how important it was going to be. And the other thing, surprise, surprise, which we can't ignore, but that helps so much, is celebrity. And again, we had to adapt, make sure we had people to deal with this. Obviously, when you're lending dresses to celebrities, you have to deal with stylists, and it takes time and emails back and forth. So we had to make sure that we were doing that really well, because to this day, we started from the beginning, and it's really, really such a channel for us to get new customers coming to us if they see their favorite celebrity using us. So yeah, we started doing that, and we're carrying on. And yeah, sometimes there are interesting results, and we like popping up in the paper because of things going wrong, people falling out of their dresses. But it doesn't really matter. This customer was really happy. She said that David Cameron told her that it was the most amazing dress he'd ever seen. So she sent us a picture, and she was really chuffed. So, the future. Well, obviously I've learned that adapting is, without it, we wouldn't have grown as much as we have. And in terms of the sharing economy and collaborative consumption, and for my business, I know it's on the up. And if anything, people said to me when Girl Meets Dress launched, it was almost a little bit too early. It was just before all of this picked up. But this was a review that a report that Goldman Sachs have done recently, and now the market's saturated with so many different companies about e-commerce, but millennials have less to spend. And if we don't adapt, and if, as a retailer, we don't keep looking at things, and I know it's not easy, I know big retailers can't just change things day to day, but if we can carry on trying new things and launching new things and reacting quickly, then I really think that that's the way our customers are going to keep being excited, especially, this is ending on a slightly down note, but especially when, and Amazon was mentioned in the presentation before me, the retail scene at the moment is in a state of flux. And Amazon, yes, unfortunately, yeah, they are taking over, and we have to react. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.